weekend for Clint Boyer.
Boyer's got a problem. He's in the way.
Boyer gets into the wall.
Clint Boyer almost got run over.
Clint Boyer got the worst of this.
Boyer's got to be sick.
A hard break for Clint Boyer. You're in trouble right now, Clint Boyer.
John, go to the garage.
Boyer absolutely demolished.
The margin between victory and defeat in the chase is less than a gallon of gas.
Stewart has run out of gas with a white flag in the air.
After an 88-race drought, Clint stood tall last week. Now he stands in the middle of controversy. Will he fall out of chase contention? Or does the 33 team have the hearts of champions? If you thought last week was unpredictable, wait till you get a load of this. Fast, vicious, unforgiving concrete. Will the Monster Mile edge louded and give us another chase classic? Only one way to find out. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, is next on Speed.
Race number 2 of the 2010 Sprint Cup Championship Chase brings us to Dover's Monster Mile. It's a track that truly lives up to its nickname, and after race number 1, we have learned that this title could be won on or off the racetrack. A wild start to the chase just got wilder, and Miles the Monster is one rough old boy known for chewing up cars and spitting them out. We have a packed house here for NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, so get on your feet, Dover. It is time for race number 2 of the 2010 Chase. Hello, everybody. Glad you could be with us. Hope you enjoyed the Formula One race. I'm John Roberts. He is Kyle Petty, and he is race car driver number 28, Kenny Wallace. And, folks, if you've been following this thing, you know how wild it's been so far. But if not, we're going to get you up to speed on exactly what's going on, Kyle. It's been fun, unless, of course, you're the number 33 team.
If you're the 33 team, your week went from the thrill of victory to the agony of defeat within about 3 days. Just really quick. It's incredible how top of the mountain to the bottom of the valley. It's been one of those weeks, an incredible week.
It got such an exciting show. I can't wait to get going. We had crazy stuff happen in practice yesterday. Wendy Venturini, Hermie Sadler, they got a lot to say. And I can't wait to give you my opinion on everything that happened. Ooh, I'm excited.
Well, let's bring you up to speed on exactly what happened. The first race of the chase looked like it was going to be a great start for Richard Childress Racing and the number 33 of Clint Boyer. As Tony Stewart ran out of gas, Clint came around to take the checkered flag, and that ended a very long winless streak for Boyer, but more importantly, started the race to the chase off with a bang. And let's take a look at the penalty that NASCAR hit the team with after they said the car was illegal. Car Chief Chad Haney was suspended 6 races. Crew Chief Shane Wilson also suspended 6 races. But here's the big thing. Clint Boyer and Richard Childress were docked 150 driver and owner points, and check out what that did to them when it comes to championship standings. As it ran after the race, Clint Boyer was 35 out, moving up 10 positions in points, obviously the big gainer from the race. But look at what happened after the penalty. Clint Boyer goes all the way back to the 12th spot, 185 out. First of all, Richard Childress and company say they will appeal this suspension and penalty, but also they say adamantly they did not cheat.
I don't believe that we did anything wrong. I guess I'll go on a record and say that. I wouldn't cheat to win a race in this sport. We have a lot more integrity, you know, for myself and our race team at RCR. We made double sure before it went to New Hampshire that that car was right. Who in their right mind, knowing that they're going to take that car, wouldn't have made triple sure that that thing was right before it went to the racetrack?
I can assure you,
Welcome back once again, race fans. This is NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but hey, it's live TV. It happens. But right now, we're going to get you up to date on the NASCAR inspection process at the racetrack as Hermie Sadler sheds a little light on it. Hermie?
Yeah, thank you, JR. I want to show you, this is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car going actually through inspection. The height sticks here. You can see the height sticks on the back. You see the green showing right here. Be careful not to touch it. This car has to be in the green, between 34 and 34.5 inches tall. Inspection prior to the race. Now after the race, they give you a little bit of a tolerance, but you still have to be within a certain measurement after the race. I spoke with John Darby because myself, along with a lot of race fans, are asking, how can Clint Bowyer's car pass inspection after the race at Loudon and then fail inspection back at the R&D Center? I spoke with John Darby right before I came on the air. He said it's simple. The quarter panels, the way they sat on the car as a complete unit, the entire race car fit within the rules after the race at Loudon. He said NASCAR's issue came after further inspection as far as issues with how the body was actually mounted to the chassis of the car. Now I'm sure more questions will be raised. There are more questions right now than answers as far as media and fans are concerned, but a lot of that will come out in the appeal process. But to answer the question shortly, the car was right on the heights, but NASCAR's issue was with how the body is mounted on the chassis. Wendy?
Thank you, Hermie, and I am with Clint Bowyer, who's had a very long week despite this 150 points deduction. We come here to Dover. Clint, how do you move forward, and what is the process that you're going through in your mind in these last 7 days?
Well, I think that's the key, is just to move forward and get this behind us. Obviously, the appeal is going to happen this week, and more importantly, we got a very fast race car. We can't lose sight of that. Once again, we brought a good car to the racetrack, just like always. Shane Wilson and everybody. This BB&T Chevrolet, didn't qualify for the best. We was over-adjusting, got too tight in the back, but it did everything you wanted to do in race trim yesterday in practice, and we were second quick in happy hour, and I think we can drive up through and get a good finish.
I thought it was kind of clever that your teammate kind of deterred attention off of you yesterday and kind of took the media foray out of your garage stall yesterday.
I didn't really see what you're talking about.
I don't know either.
I was in the car.
So what do we do today? We get out on that racetrack, 185 points back, Clint. That's a lot of ground to make up. Can you do it?
Well, I mean, I definitely think we can, but, we got to get through this appeal, and hopefully, we can get that overturned or, reduced or something. I believe we got a little bit of confidence going into that appeal, and, hopefully we won't have to overcome 185 points, but if we do, our cars are playing fast enough. We got some good racetracks coming up. My home track in Kansas next week I'm looking forward to, and just looking forward to the rest of the year.
All right, well, good luck to Clint Bowyer, who was second in happy hour. I do have to give him credit for the way he was so candid with the media on Friday. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. Well, here's where things got a little bit more interesting was when Denny Hamlin was candid with the media about the situation with the number 33 car. He said that it definitely was an advantage for that team.
You can really try to say that 60,000s didn't help him perform any better. That is a crock. Let me tell you something. That helps a lot. They were warned, and they were warned before Richmond. And I think that they should just be happy they're in the chase. They're the ones who wanted to press the issue and get all they could to make sure they got in the chase. They got in it, and then they were busted.
Now, apparently, most of the Richard Childress Racing team members didn't like what Denny had to say, especially Kevin Harvick, as they had the practice session yesterday where it was Kevin Harvick getting into the back of Denny Hamlin on the warm-up lap of this practice session. So instead of working on their race cars, this put the 11 and the 29 teams back behind the wall in the garage area, fixing cars instead of working on race setup. So, guys, what's your take on this, Kyle Petty, when you look at this? Are they using the cars as a weapon here for retaliation?
No, I think this incident right here with Kevin and with Denny was just crazy. Here's two guys, first and second, second and third, wherever they are in the points right now, and they take themselves out of practice.
First and second.
And you take yourself out of practice, you give up practice because of what the drivers do, not because of what the teams do, because of what the drivers do. I think they need to focus on where they're at right now. I know it's a lot of head games. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of issues, things Denny said, things that the Childress team interpreted a certain way. And when you look at it, I don't know about you, Kenny, but I don't want to go up against the Childress team.
Well, Denny messed up, and let me tell you why. He met his match. You do not mess with the old number 3 black Dale Earnhardt team. Old Chocolate, he's doing radio now, but they passed it on down. And let me tell you why. Because they love to fight. Those guys up there in North Carolina, the whole Richard Childress organization, don't fire them guys up. They're a bunch of country boys. And here's what happened. Denny Hamlin said something, and he thought it was going to be just fine. But this whole team rebelled. And you look at Kevin Harvick, I call Harvick a punk. I say, Kevin, are you a punk? He goes, yeah, I'm a punk. That means somebody's going to stand up for his team. I'll fight you anytime on the street. And that's what Harvick did. Harvick didn't have no fight in the deal. And he rebelled and put up for Clint Bowyer. Denny Hamlin jacked with the wrong team. He could have messed with anybody. It's the old Earnhardt boys. It's been passed around down to Gil Martin from Chocolate Myers and all those guys. A bad deal for Denny. Denny's got to be afraid now because I'm going to tell you what, they're not going to give him a break.
Well, as NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot rolls on, we will hear from another member of Richard Childress' organization. That is Jeff Burton, who is going to join us. And also, we will hear from Tony Stewart, who suffered the heartbreak of running out of fuel last weekend. Stay with us, everyone. Much more Race Day coming your way.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Cheerios. Check out Cheerios.com/love for heart-healthy tips and a chance to win the ultimate race weekend. And by Metroid. Other M, exclusively on Wii. Rated teen.
NASCAR racing since 1969. Dover brings in fans from all over the Northeast, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, and points farther away. This track was not concrete until 1995, but the fans come here for a good reason because things happen in a hurry at this racetrack, and we got all kinds of great racing coming your way in race number 2 of the Chase. But in race number 1, the number 31 car had an okay day, finishing 15th. He held on, Jeff Burton did, to a pretty good position in points, and he's standing by with Hermie Sadler.
Thank you, Johnny. Catching up with Jeff Burton. Kind of a slow news week for RCR, so how'd your golf game been, Jeff?
Hadn't had a lot of time to play golf this week, but we're looking forward to it, maybe in about 9 weeks.
Look, obviously, a lot of you guys in the news, a lot of stuff going on. You've been at RCR for a long time and have taken the front and center on a lot of issues with this race team. How's it been this week at the shop, and what the team's attitude has been heading into Dover?
Well, it's been a difficult week. Obviously the 33 had a great weekend last week, and then they got deflated. We were sitting there running 4th and 5th, 6th all day long. Ended up finishing 15th, so we were disappointed. The 29, in typical fashion, they found a way to rise to the top, and like they've done all year. So, we had a difficult week, and then we obviously had all the stuff that got added on to it. So the main thing for us is to focus on what we're doing and pay attention to what we're doing. I think we have a legitimate shot to win this championship, but we just got to go to work.
You're a teammate of Clint Bowyer, obviously. I know you guys are a tight-knit bunch. When somebody like Denny Hamlin makes comments that indirectly affect you and what you've done on the racetrack this year, how do you take that?
Well, we're like a group of brothers. I mean, honestly, we can mess with each other, but nobody better mess with us. You're going to stand up for each other, and we believe a lot in each other. We make each other better. The deal with Denny is he just went too far. It's okay to express your opinion. A lot of what he said was accurate. A lot of what he said was inaccurate. He exaggerated some of the facts. He exaggerated to make his point, and that wasn't fair. And then he brought the 29 and 31 into it, which have had no problems in tech whatsoever all year long, and he indicated that the 29 and 31 had been, we're going to have trouble too, and that just wasn't fair. So, emotions get running high in this sport, and it's easy to start talking before you really should understand the whole facts, and he was trying to make a point, which is fine. It's his right to do that, but it needs to be based on facts, not based on conjecture.
Well, I've been knowing Jeff Burton for a long time, and I know the whole mindset for the RCR team this weekend to put all this behind them is go to victory lane here at Dover. Wendy?
And as we find ourselves in the second race of the Chase, Kurt Busch finds himself 5th in points, only 86 back. Kurt, how important is it to get this good start in this beginning of the Chase?
Well, it just helps when you build a foundation of solid points. It can carry you through if you have a tough race or a blowout or something bad happens. I mean, you never know at Talladega. So it's just the same feel like when you're at Daytona at the beginning of the year. Just get that solid points base built up, and you do that with solid, consistent runs at the beginning.
Now, what do you think is going to happen to this racetrack today? We've had very hot temperatures, 98, 93 degrees Friday and Saturday. Here it is very much cooler and possibility of rain.
Yeah, this track, it goes through a lot of mood swings, and with all those temperature changes, it's hard to get your car perfect. And Steve Addington's telling me our lap times aren't so bad, but the drivers are just fighting the car all day long, and you just have to grin and bear it. I mean, your car's never going to be perfect here at Dover, no matter what the conditions are, so you just let it rip.
Now, I have to point out your guests with you today, Kurt, because they are in casual street clothes out of uniform, but they're pretty special.
They are. Got a good group from the Armed Forces Foundation, and just to see these guys here enjoying the day, relaxing, out of uniform, it's special. And then they're out hanging for the team, so we got a big group of supporters out there being with us today.
Well, that's cool. Hopefully Kurt Busch can get to victory lane and take his special guest with him.
Wendy, thanks a lot. Back in 2006, Kurt Busch finished 4th in a Dover Chase race, and that is his best finish in a championship-level race here at Dover. He gambled and lost. When we come back, we'll talk about it, playing it safe in the chase.
The monster's taken a bite out of many a driver, and that includes the championship contenders. We'll show you how the chase can't be won here, but certainly can be lost, and tell you if anyone's a good bet to escape in one piece. Heading your way, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot on speed.
Well, last week in Loudon, it was said by many different drivers that you can't win the championship in the first race, but you certainly can lose it. And after a couple of bad breaks for some teams, now some drivers find themselves figuratively one lap down.
For some, championship dreams brightened following New Hampshire, while for others, those dreams have turned into nightmares. For no one could it be any worse than Clint Bowyer on a day that seemed so promising.
I would run as fast as you can to maintain second place, and we'll hope that he runs out.
Yeah, running out of gas is an option in this first race.
Save us some gas, Randy. You got to save the gas.
Tony Stewart has run out of gas. Stewart has run out of gas with a white flag in the air. Clint Bowyer has taken the lead to turn 1.
Coast with no brakes. Coast with no brakes.
Who has the magic wand today? The name is Clint Bowyer.
How about that, boys? Clint, one thing to remember for them is this right here, buddy. You never quit. This is how you're going to win a championship. You never quit.
But following their win, the 33 team was deemed to be in violation of NASCAR rules, resulting in a 6-race suspension of crew chief Shane Wilson and the loss of 150 championship points for Bowyer, a penalty that could prove to be devastating. While Bowyer will have to claw his way back, 3 drivers who have basked in championship glory in days past floundered.
Matt Kenseth is spinning, slapping the outside wall in 2, and the caution is out yet again.
Sorry, 3 wide. Last I heard it was 2 wide, but I went in there and it must have been 3 wide. That's 12 wiped me out there.
31 didn't give him much room there. Going around, and is he going to make it? Kyle Busch has spun just in front of him. Jimmy has turned as well.
The 2 was spinning down across the front of us. The 18 turned left to miss him and ran into us, and I spun around.
We have a wheel coming loose or something. Here's vibration getting worse. Bring it around a pit if you think you need a pit. I can't tell you what to do. If it's not feeling right, just bring it in.
He is the one guy who has been able to come back from a dismal finish here at New Hampshire to win the championship, but this is not the way you want to start it.
Cruise, bud. Just cruise. Really got nothing at all that we can do until a caution comes out, or if a caution comes out.
Tony Stewart not making lap traffic a factor. I think he could easily catch the car who's about 20 car lengths in front of him. That's the number 36. But again, Stewart just maintaining along with Clint Bowyer.
Just ran out.
For Jeff Burton, like Tony Stewart, his hopes for a top 5 finish relied upon a gas tank that was quickly drying up.
All right, what do you need me to save? We're right on the number, Jeff, so I mean, I'd like to save a lap, so just a little bit long here.
Run it out. That's what Jeff Burton just recorded.
Each of these teams dealing with vastly different issues, some struggling to finish, while others thought they were celebrating. Now left with 9 races to try and get back into the fight.
And definitely wants to get in the fight, back in the fight for Tony Stewart after last weekend, wants to put last weekend behind him. Of course, Tony, how do you move forward, you and Darian Grubb? Because that's a tough pill to swallow.
You just pray that people will quit asking you about it. That's the biggest thing. It's, Darian's been great this week, and it was my fault that we ran out of fuel, not his. Darian made the right call, and I ran too hard and didn't save enough fuel to get us to the end. But you know, it's him calling, the guys on the crew calling me. You know, Steve Odland from Office Depot called a lot this week just to check on us, and having that kind of support, that's the stuff that gets you through a time like that and keeps you pumped up for the next weekend.
Fortunately, we've had other things to talk about this week in the media with other regards on the racetrack. So now that we come here to Dover, what are you expecting out of your race car? Because it sounded on the radio yesterday it was a little bit difficult to drive for you.
Yeah, and you know, obviously the conditions today are quite a bit cooler. I mean, drastically cooler than yesterday. So we know that'll change the handling. We just hope it changes it in the way that we're looking for. But you know, I'm proud of our guys. They put in a hard day yesterday for you know, for less than 2 hours of practice. They worked hard. So you know, I think we ran through enough stuff yesterday that last night Darian was able to sit through there and pick it all apart and make a decision on what we needed for today.
So besides, of course, going out to win the race today, what kind of strategy do you and Darian employ this second race of the chase?
I'll be honest, I mean, I want nothing more than to win today, and we've got a really good reason for it aside from our own personal you know, goals. We've got the small business of NASCAR that Office Depot supports, and we've got two companies today that are, one's on my car and one's on Greg Biffle's car, and if either one of us happens to win the race, it gets that small business $1 million bonus. So whichever one of Greg or I finishes higher, that's going to be the official small business of NASCAR. But if either one of us wins the race, that company is also going to get $1 million. So that's a huge weekend. And if we can, aside from our personal goals, if we can help some small business win $1 million, you know, if we're second going into the last lap and the guy leads in front of us, he's probably going to be a little upset and angry. So I'm all for winning somebody $1 million a day.
All right, well, that sounds like a good plan. Not only a benefit for the small business, but of course a benefit for Tony Stewart and the 14 team. Tony Stewart knows how to win. He has 2 wins here at Dover. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. And in the big business of NASCAR, it's often said that if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. So it's hard to fault a team, guys, for trying, for going for it. A guy like Tony Stewart, who's used to winning championships, generally doesn't like to pull in and get fuel and settle.
Well, you know, we're sitting here looking at a championship. Every lap, every race, every pit stop is microscopic right now. Now, these teams do not go to the racetrack saying, let's gamble. What you have to do is you have to wait for the opportunity, then make a decision. Kyle, I think that, you know, you say, gosh, if we can go all the way on gas, we're going to make up 5 spots in the points.
Yeah, and I think they are in a position now to gamble. I don't think New Hampshire was a gamble. Other teams pitted on exactly the same lap and made it. The 31 and the 14 are the only 2 cars out of the entire field that didn't make it. So was that a gamble? Are you saying Clint gambled? Are you saying Junior gambled? Are you saying these other guys? I don't think it was a gamble. I think they just used more fuel or maybe didn't get enough fuel in there. It wasn't as much a gamble. Now you've put yourself in a position where you have to double up to catch up. It's like playing golf. You got to press right now, and now's the time that these guys are going to have to press. But Tony and those guys are a good enough team. They're just going to win races straight out.
Double down.
Yep.
Double down,
we know the fans here at Dover are very passionate about their racing, and if the sound of revving engines and the smell of burning rubber excites you, then you are passionate. Check out Cheerios.com/love for heart-healthy tips and a chance to win the ultimate race weekend. Love your heart so you can do what you love, and we know our fans up here in the Northeast love their NASCAR. Now, Formula One fans, stay with us. We will go back to Singapore for some post-race comments from the F1 race. It concluded just a few moments ago, but right now here on race day, when we come back here to Dover, we will have much more from you, including hearing from Kyle Busch. Imagine that, controversy on the racetrack, and Kyle Busch is not involved.
What?
Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot here at the Monster Mile of Dover. Fans witnessed some history yesterday as Kyle Busch came around, took the checkered flag. That was his 11th nationwide win this season, and that passes him. He passes Sam Ard, who held the previous record with 10. So Kyle Busch has grabbed yet another piece of Nationwide Series history. Only got 7 more to go to pass Mark Martin for all time. Brad Keselowski still has a very firm hold on the championship race as he is 320 points ahead of Carl Edwards right now after 28 of the 35 races. So BK22 is sitting in very good position as far as the championship goes. But when it comes to winning races, it's all Kyle Busch. Isn't that right, Hermie Sadler?
No question about it. Catching up with Kyle Busch. What do we say? This guy continues to obliterate the record books in the Nationwide Series. Congratulations on win number 11, all-time record.
I appreciate it, man. It's really cool, you know, to surpass Sam Ard and what he's been able to do in this sport's pretty special. You know, obviously, all the wins that he was able to gather in the 80s, and you know, for myself to tie him and now to finally break him, it's really, really neat, and it's really, really special for all the guys. You know, Jason Ratcliffe's really pumped about it. All the guys on the shop, all the guys on the team, the B team, the A team, everybody's really pumped. So they're excited, and we've still got more time to go. So we're hoping for maybe 12, 13, or 14.
And let's talk about the Sprint Cup Series side. What is it with all these people running each other on the racetrack and in the garage, and you're nowhere to be found? You need to get involved in this.
Nope, I could care less. It's not my problem.
Well, and to that point, this is by far your best chance to win this Sprint Cup Series championship, and you guys are seen to keep your nose to the ground working in that direction. Another good car this weekend.
Yeah, we were good. You know, Dave and myself, we just kept working really hard on what the car felt like. You know, I remember what I had in the spring and what I won with, but I wasn't sure that it was exactly what we needed in order to win, you know, so we changed it up a little bit. We're hoping it works for us. With the cloud cover, it's going to make it a little bit different here today. Track's a little cooler, but still it's going to get slick. And, you know, with the cars running around here, laying the rubber down, you're going to start sliding around all over.
Well, Kyle Busch kind of keeping his mind on his race car, and not a bad day for me. I scored a brand new, authentically autographed Kyle Busch Interstate Batteries cap. Johnny?
Nicely done, Hermie. Man, you know, Hermie knows how to work it down there. For Kyle Busch, it's either feast or famine. It seems like he's either winning here at this racetrack during the chase races or finishing way back. But that brings us to the question. Right now, with Denny Hamlin having the controversy surround him, he's going to have to refocus. Is Kyle Busch the best threat for Joe Gibbs Racing right now?
Denny Hamlin or Kyle Busch? Well, I say the game has changed. I would say Denny Hamlin is the man to beat at Joe Gibbs Racing. But Kyle, I think with all this arguing going on yesterday, and I also feel that Richard Childress Racing has a bullseye for Denny Hamlin. They're not going to give him a break. I don't know. I'm going to have to wait to see. But I would have said Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, and I'm still going to say Denny Hamlin. I'm sorry. I'm still going to say Denny because Denny's won 6 races. That team, he comes back from adversity. He comes back from his knee surgery. He comes back from a lot of stuff. They were so hot the first part of the year, cooled off or in the center part of the year, kind of cooled off. But now they've got hot again. I'm going to say Denny's the guy. This guy is a guy, though. Kyle Busch is a guy that's going to surprise a lot of people because they fell on their face a year or so ago, just disappeared whenever they got to the chase. Now they're here. They're going to be a factor in this chase.
And either of those two definitely has a chance to win it, but you as a race fan definitely has a chance to win a fuel can from Sunoco.
I want
race
one.
Well, maybe you could get one, Kenny. How would you like to have an official Sunoco Racing fuel can? Visit speed.com/Sunoco for entry details, official rules, and drawing dates. You know, they have changed the face of racing this year. We, of course, are talking about double file restarts, and when we come back to NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot, we will talk about those double file restarts and the effect they will have on the chase. But right now, we're going to send you back to F1 land to Singapore to hear from Lee Diffie and company on some post-race comments after the F1 race. But we'll be back to Dover moments after that. Welcome back to Dover and Race Day, everyone. These are the best seats in the house, but you just can't go buy them. To watch a race for the Monster Bridge, it's all about who you know. 56 of your closest friends can enjoy the race in air-conditioned comfort with gourmet food. The Monster Bridge is 110 feet long and stretches 29 feet over the entrance of Turn 3. It's about as close to the racing action as you can get, and with 3 inches of DuPont Sentry glass and a metal catch fence, you can definitely relax in safety. Well, it is time now to see just how difficult it is to get around this Monster Mile. Let's go to Joey Logano with our Home Depot Hot Lap.
Hey, I'm Joey Logano with your Home Depot Hot Lap. This week we're in Dover. One of the biggest things you have to worry about here is how the car lands at the turn. It really is like a roller coaster out there. It's going up and down a lot, and the way the car lands makes sure the splitter stays off the ground and the car doesn't scrape, and that's one of the big deals there. Then in the center, it's kind of get your car to point and try to get that run off the corner, and the car almost seems like it compresses again until it comes out of the hole. And you see a lot of cars slide and get loose right at the walls because the bank is going away so quick. So that's your Home Depot Hot Lap.
Thanks, Joey. And right now we're going to hop aboard his teammate's car, number 18 of Kyle Busch, who won yesterday. And Kenny Wallace, you turned a lot of laps on this track yesterday. What was it like?
Well, this is a really groovy racetrack. I know that sounds funny, but you go where your car wants to go. So here Kyle Busch is. He wants the bottom. He's a bottom feeder, kind of like Kyle Petty. Kyle, you're a previous winner here. Tell me how to get around here.
I don't know, but if you listen here, listen. Look how quick he rolls out, and he picks up the throttle, right here, and it's just half throttle, half throttle, half throttle. And you know, Kenny, then he's wide open right here. It's amazing you're only really wide open in the gas for a very short period of time. You spend a lot of time letting the car roll and using the throttle to set the car in the corner.
One thing Dale Earnhardt taught me when I struggled here early in my career is do not attack the corners so hard. Let off the gas. Do not use much brake and roll and get in the gas wide open.
Easier said than done?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Put a car in front of you. You're
hey,
in, off. That's the way it is.
Let me tell you something. 8 Sprint Cup wins, 8-time winner. Whenever Kyle Petty was leading the race, you said to yourself, I better let off early. Kyle was really good at this racetrack.
One thing you can notice from an in-car lap at this racetrack is how narrow everything is. For more on the narrow features of this racetrack, let's go back to Hermie Sadler.
Well, Johnny, take a look at the 24 degrees of banking here at the Monster Mile at Dover. We talk about what a difficult racetrack this is. Tough on the cars, tough on the competitors. Let's talk about a couple reasons why it is that way. Number one, 24 degrees of banking, long sweeping corners at this racetrack. If your car's handling good, you get back to the throttle, you can make up a lot of time. If your car's not really good through the middle of the corner, nowhere to hide. You're all over the racetrack, in the way, and having a very bad day. The one point of this racetrack that's often overlooked as to why it's so tough is off the exit of these corners. It's a lot of room in the middle of the corner, but look off of turn 4 up towards where the cars exit the corner. You can run 2 or 3 wide in the center, but when you get off of these corners, you want to be single file and watch out for the transition onto the straightaway. When you go from 24 degrees of banking to 9 degrees of banking with these fast, heavy stock cars, if you have to get off the throttle a little bit, a lot of times the guy behind you cannot see you doing that and get into you, cause a wreck, and there's walls on both sides of this racetrack on the straightaway, the outside wall and the inside wall. If you run into trouble, a lot of times there's no way to get around it. Dover is definitely a wild card race, Johnny.
Hermie, thanks a lot. One thing to keep an eye on today, as we have throughout this chase and this season, is the double file restarts. They're fun for the fans, but dangerous for the drivers.
Restarts are always aggressive because of how difficult it is to pass. I think that everybody's going to be getting every spot that they can like they do every week. I think the racing's going to be aggressive with all these cars almost the same speed. It's very difficult to pass. So, I mean, that makes the restarts when you're side by side and you got a short run and you can try to get a couple positions. It makes that really important.
Dover has more grip. You know, the tire seems to grip a little bit more. There at New Hampshire, the problem on the restarts was everyone's cars were so loose. There's no grip in the track, so it's which that's part of what makes it fun, but also makes it really dangerous on the restarts. And I think that's why you saw, each time we have a restart, there'd be chaos.
So the double file restarts have definitely put a good twist into these races, but how much is it going to be a factor here at Dover?
Well, that's a big factor here at Dover, and let me explain to you why. When you're on the inside, you think, oh, I go down in there and I'm all by myself. The problem, race fans, is the guy on the outside. You ever hear that funny term? He stole the air off my spoiler. Kyle, that guy on the outside can make it a bad day because you don't have room to run out. He's holding you down.
Just like that.
Just exactly like that.
Exactly how that happens.
I don't know. I got to go to the info care center now.
That was good.
But he's exactly right. The thing on the double file restarts, and you watch the guy on the outside, and a couple of times the pole sitter or the lead guy has chosen the outside. We saw it in the nationwide race because he goes in and he just lets his car, just as Kenny said during the track description, he just lets his car go wherever it wants to go. Once it lands, he picks up the throttle and he runs up off the corner. And the outside line may be the way here. I don't think, just as Carl said, it's going to be as big an issue here, but double file restarts have come into play and changed the sport, and it is an issue.
Well, race fans, we are just barely firing our engines here on this championship edition of NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot. When we come back, we still have a full hour for you, and we'll give you the latest update on Clint Boyer and the number 33 team.
It's only one race, but some guys are riding high after Loudon, while others are licking their wounds. We're playing the stock market, NASCAR style, and we'll let you know who's feeling bearish, bullish, and who'd we put our money on today. Straight ahead, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot on speed.
The Monster Mile at Dover, Delaware is the scene of race number 2 of the 2010 Chase. This is a very physically and mentally demanding racetrack, and it will put the Chase drivers and the other 31 to the test today, as Miles the Monster is one rough old boy. Coming off of race number 1 of the Chase, things got weird last Wednesday as Clint Boyer was hit by NASCAR hard, 150 penalty points, and that soured the win from race number 1 of the Chase. Let's take a look at exactly what the penalty is from NASCAR. Clint Boyer and Richard Childress were docked 150 driver and owner points. Shane Wilson suspended 6 races. Car Chief Chad Haney was also suspended 6 races. And look what this did to Clint Boyer's championship hopes when it comes to Sprint Cup Series championship standings. Denny Hamlin and Clint Boyer were 1 and 2 leaving Loudon. Clint Boyer was 35 back. Now, after the penalty, Boyer goes all the way back to the 12th position and now 185 points back. It was a severe blow to his championship hopes, but Richard Childress Racing promises us several things. First of all, they say they will appeal, and secondly, they say they did not cheat.
I don't believe that we did anything wrong. I guess I'll go on a record and say that. I wouldn't cheat to win a race in this sport. We have a lot more integrity, for myself and our race team at RCR. We made double sure before it went to New Hampshire that that car was right. Who in their right mind, knowing that they're going to take that car, wouldn't have made triple sure that that thing was right before it went to the racetrack?
I can assure you, because I looked at numbers personally, looked at the cars on the plates before they went to New Hampshire, that those cars were legal when they left.
Grab a quarter out of your pocket. That's 65 thousandths of an inch thick. Less than the thickness of that quarter right there resulted in a 150-point fine. Grab that and ask yourself if that was a performance-enhancing thing right there.
And I don't think anyone could look us square in the face and say, without a shadow of doubt, that that wrecker couldn't have moved that car 60 thousandths.
My dad owns a towing business, has been since I was born in 1979. I know a little something about wreckers. About 15 years ago, they took them push bumpers off the front of them for this very reason.
All I'm going to ask for is a fair appeal. That's all I want, is a fair appeal.
And the words from Richard Childress, that appeal will come Wednesday, so we'll continue to follow the story. But drivers did have some reactions. Here's one of them from Denny Hamlin as he approached the media on Friday when he arrived in Dover.
I mean, I feel like we need to be within, shouting distance when we leave here. My goal before the chase started was to be within 80 points when I left Dover. I think our chances of winning this race are probably slim, and I think that we know that. This is just a track that really challenges me, but I think we can go out there and we can run 3rd, 4th, 5th.
And those were the words from Denny Hamlin. It continued to go on throughout the race weekend, Johnny, and as we've followed this story already. But definitely the tension in the garage area has existed this weekend, especially since this chase has started and especially since everything came down with Clint Boyer and the RCR teams.
Wendy, those were the nice things that Denny Hamlin said in the media center. The other things he said was he basically threw the flag up and said he didn't believe that Richard Childress Racing was not looking for an advantage, and therefore that got the 29 team, the 31, and everybody at RCR all fired up.
Well, and like I said earlier, he jacked with the wrong team. When Denny Hamlin called out the whole Richard Childress Racing bunch, you're jacking with the Dale Earnhardt black car, number 3, Old Chocolate Myers. He passed her tradition down, and those guys love to fight. So, Kyle, when Denny Hamlin started talking about the whole team, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, Clint Boyer, he lit a fire. And it's going to be hard on Denny Hamlin because the whole bunch is not going to give up on Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, I don't think, the Clint Boyer thing has me kind of baffled. And I'll be honest with you. Because I know there needs to be a line in the sand, but where's the line in the sand? There's 2 lines in the sand. And this is Kyle's opinion, okay, so let's just be honest here, is they take the car, they have it certified, they bring it to the racetrack, it passes certification, it passes first inspection, it passes qualification inspection, it passes pre-race inspection, and it passes post-race inspection at the racetrack, but they take it back to Charlotte and it fails. Did they take the other 42 cars back to Charlotte and did they fail? They took one car out and took it back. And now they're penalizing that one car. I don't think that one car should be penalized because he's being held to a different standard at the center than they are at the racetrack. And like I said, I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I just don't like the process of having one thing here and one thing there, and for these teams trying to figure out where that's at.
But don't you guys think that there had to be something really big for NASCAR to throw the book at that team and take away what could have been one of the best storylines this season? Because when 12th goes to second in points, you're setting up a great chase.
So you're saying NASCAR's lying to us that it's something other than this?
No,
Is that
no,
what you're saying?
I'm not saying they're lying to you. I'm saying there has to be something very bad in that car, that means much more than 1/64 of an inch.
I don't know.
I got 3 or 4 things to say. First of all, I think there's something deeper than just what happened. Number one, race fans, we have to deem a winner after the race, okay? So we got to go, hey, this guy passed inspection. He's the winner. Yay. We cannot wait. We cannot afford to wait till Wednesday to go, Now, they say he's illegal, but yet they give him the win. I don't get that, because if he gets the win, then he's still in the All-Star race. Then if he wins the All-Star race, he can win $1 million. So
that's a good point.
Are you all following me?
Great point.
Okay, I think we've done.
Yeah,
we've confused the heck out of everything.
We can beat.
Yeah, but it's trickled down.
Here's one thing that's not confusing. Wednesday afternoon, NASCAR will hear this appeal from Richard Childress Racing, and if you think they don't have a shot, think again, because since they made the appeals board in 1999, 88 penalties were upheld, and that's 66%, 2/3. 42 penalties were reduced or overturned, and I think that might surprise a lot of fans. 32% of the penalties have been overturned. And actually, 2 penalties were increased, but this tells you that there is a shot for Richard Childress Racing to get this penalty appealed. It can happen.
And it can happen. And you know, Richard said, I just want a fair process. I think NASCAR will give them a fair process. I think NASCAR will look at the total process on how they inspect the cars, what they go through, and Richard and those guys will present their evidence on where they think it stands. I think it will be a fair process, and I think those numbers show that if you do have legitimate grounds, NASCAR will stand there and look at you. At the same time, if you come in there with a bunch of bull crap and just start throwing things and say, well, the record did this or the record did that or I got hit on the racetrack, I don't want to hear that stuff. I don't want to hear that. Show me how the car was built. Show me your numbers. Show me where you were at. Give me the facts and let me rule on the facts. And I think NASCAR will.
I don't want to see NASCAR say, come to Daytona inside an office. I want to see something done. I want to see NASCAR say, we're going to meet Richard Childress Racing at the Tech Center. Because all these people that sit on the board, maybe that don't go to the racetrack every week, I think they need to look at it. Everybody needs to go to the Tech Center, guys. Change the meeting. Don't tell them to come to Daytona in the board meeting. Robin Pemberton, Darby, Mike Helton, let's have this appeal process at the Tech Center so we can see what the real deal is.
And for the latest on that appeal decision, you can tune into Race Hub at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. They will have the full story for you there. Got to take another break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. But together they have 3 wins, but no shot at the championship. We'll talk to Ryan Newman and Jamie McMurray when we come back. Welcome back, race fans. The NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. Thursday marked NASCAR's 6th visit to Walter Reed Army Medical Center. Drivers and NASCAR President Mike Helton thanked the wounded warriors. Walter Reed provides health care to more than 150,000 service members, retirees, and their families. And it is always a good time to thank our American men and women in the armed services who protect our freedom and allow us to come out here each and every Sunday and Saturday night and enjoy the sport we love, NASCAR racing, here on the track. Well, Jamie McMurray has won 2 of the biggest races so far this season, but he has one more thing he'd like to do, and that's to upset the Chase drivers with another victory. Let's go to Hermie Sadler.
Well, Jamie McMurray, a great season you guys have had, winning Daytona and Indianapolis. And you said all along, hey, I've had a great season regardless whether we make the Chase or not. Now that the Chase has started, are you still sticking to those comments?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really good year so far, and we just weren't consistent enough at the beginning of the season to be in the Chase. But I feel like our consistency is there since Indy. We've had really solid finishes, and as a team, we've done a really good job. So got another good car here this weekend in Dover.
Does your focus as a race team change that you're not in the Chase? Do you continue to stick what's worked for you this year because you have won, or do you start working on a few more things for next year?
No, both Juan and I have. We're trying new things, you know, but really that all happens in testing. It's so hard to show up to the racetrack in an hour of practice, find something that you know you can stick with. But we both have been running different setups the last couple of weeks, and fortunately that the cars are just really fast. And today's the same thing. So one of us might run well today, and one of us might not.
Who's that going to be? Which one?
I hope that our car runs well, but you know, you're just always trying to learn. And I heard him say right before we came out for the drivers meeting that I think Juan's going to do the tire test at Charlotte, and that's so valuable when you get to go do one of those.
And last question, a lot of people ask me this, and I want to pass it on to you. When you're not in the chase, when you're racing against the guys that are in the chase, does that change the way you view who you're racing on the racetrack and how you race them?
No, not at all. I mean, I think you race guys with the same respect that they give you. And when we come down to 1 or 2 races to go, or Homestead for sure, and those guys are racing for a championship, then they deserve the right to maybe be raced differently. But right now, there's so much racing left that you race everybody hard and just race them the way you want to be raced.
Well, one of the pleasant surprises for this season has been Jamie McMurray. 2 big wins already this year, looking for number 3 today. Wendy?
And Ryan Newman's looking for that win today in Dover. Now, Ryan, listening to you guys on the radio this weekend, how do you feel your car is going to react with these cooler temperatures that we have today?
If you listen, you tell me what I was going to say.
There was a lot of work to be done. I was listening to that. You want to be honest?
No, our car is good after about 6 or 8 laps, and it kind of comes to life. So, knowing the way the runs here happen, typically. You got a long green flag running, so I think we'll be in good shape. We made some adjustments, obviously, to try to get the car a little bit better, but I don't know exactly what the weather's going to do, and I know the track definitely really rubbered up yesterday. It's been rubbered up all weekend because we haven't had any rain to wash it off, so hopefully that doesn't happen today.
Do you and Tony Gibson stick to your own game plan now that we're in the chase to help any setups with Tony Stewart? Are you trying things for the 14, or do you guys stick to your own game plan?
We try to do whatever we can to be as fast as we can. If that's the same as him, then fine. If it's not, then hopefully they're not in a position where they need what we are running. So we want them to be as strong as we are, and obviously vice versa. So nothing really specific. There are things that we maybe try and compare, and just like any other weekend, not overlap. So we're not doing this, both doing the same thing or the same change. But in the end, yeah, we're trying to do whatever we can to be the fastest so that we can be a benefit to ourselves and him.
What kind of racing can we expect today with all the chase drama that we've been following this week?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely would say that I wish I could be a part of it, but at the same time, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and we're here to, just like the first 26 races, try to win every one, and we got great opportunity, a great car at the Haas Automation Chevrolet today, and I don't know what to expect other than just like always here at Dover. I mean, Dover is the one track of all the tracks that we go to where you can have the big one, especially it seems like at the end of the straightaways that nobody ever anticipates. So you never know what's going to happen here.
All right, yeah, it is one of those tracks. You never know what to anticipate, Johnny. Ryan Newman going for that victory and getting his little chug in just for charity.
Wendy, thanks a lot. And that's a tough balancing act for some of these drivers. We call them the other 31, but their job is to go out there and get as many positions and perhaps a win for their sponsor and their owner. But at the same time, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the guy that wrecks somebody out and causes them a shot at the championship.
Yeah, but you know what? What a job, NASCAR. We're talking about 13th and 14th in the points. These guys have won. Jamie McMurray, what a whale of a year. We've already documented Daytona 500 winner, Indy 500 winner. And look at Ryan Newman. He won at Phoenix. So, Cal, we're talking about guys that have won, and they're 13th and 14th in the points. This is a very competitive sport.
Yeah, it is. It's incredibly competitive. But you look at it, it's hard not being in the chase. It's just as hard now winning races as it was before the chase started. At one point in time last week at New Hampshire, 11 of the top 15 or 16 cars were chase cars, and they've got the shot at winning the race. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. But you've got guys like Jamie, you've got guys like Ryan, you've got guys like Casey Kane, David Ruderman. Those guys have won races, and they're outside, and they can still win races. There's 9 races to go. These are winning teams, and they can get up in there. Now, I think we saw last week the 43 car of AJ. When they race with a chase contender, they give a chase contender a little bit more room. AJ gave the 99 car tons of room when he was racing for position, because you don't want to be that guy. It's okay to win the race. You don't want to be that guy that wrecks that guy.
Everybody says quickly here, everybody says, how can we tweak this race for the chase for the championship? I have one. If you win a race, you get in. Just my opinion.
All right.
Good point.
See if NASCAR's listening to that. We got to take another quick break, but first we want to tell you it's scary to race on the Monster Mile, but this is even more scary. Coming up, the Speed Scream contest returns to Talladega, and this time we want you at home to participate. Upload a video of your best scream, and Kenny Wallace, you're not eligible for your chance to win a frightfully good Talladega prize pack, including suite passes, pit passes. To submit videos, visit speed.com/promos. They call this racetrack the Monster Mile. There is Miles. He is one rough old boy.
Mean.
And we'll show you when we come back just how tough it can be on drivers and race cars as well. Welcome back to Race Day, everyone. Last night in Las Vegas, they packed the stands, and all the fans out there saw a little bit of racing history as Austin Dillon came around to take the checkered flag, put the 3-truck back into victory lane, and certainly the beginning of a bright young career for Austin Dillon, who is Richard Childress' grandson, celebrating victory for the first time in the Camping World Truck Series. Let's take a look at the points, and Todd Bodine has this one all but wrapped up right now after 20 to 25 races. What do you think, guys? Can we turn out the lights? Is
Turn
the party
out the
over?
lights. The party's over. They need a chase.
October 23rd, the world's toughest trucks march into Martinsville for some good old-fashioned... Tempers explode at one of racing's most storied venues. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live from Martinsville, October 23rd at 12:30 Eastern, only on Speed. Now that we're coming up on Halloween, we will no doubt hear that song Monster Mash hundreds of times, but today at Dover, we'll see the Monster Mash up close and personal.
Spin up in front of us, back it down, back it down.
We just didn't finish again by a guy not giving an inch.
Joey Logano is around, wheelbarrowing end over end, side over side.
All 10 of the drivers contending for the Nextel Cup Championship are running in the top 17 positions in the race. And that look out!
Oh, man. No. And you talk about stopping. I mean, he went from 35, 40 miles per hour to 0.
The car's done. Hard, yeah. Matt Kenseth has torn up his race car and put a crimp in his championship bid. There's a 38 off the pace.
He thinks he's got a tire issue.
He has been very slow.
Right rear they're talking about.
Flat right rear tire for Elliott. Came into the day, 6th in the chase for the championship, trying to move up, but this is not going to help.
Off the track, back in the Nextel Cup garage, sits Matt Kenseth's car. Heavy damage on the right side. They're working to replace some of the right front suspension components. Matt sitting in the car, helmet on, window net up, very distraught at the events of the day.
Trouble, Stewart and Casey Kane.
Hard contact with the outside retaining wall. The defending Nextel Cup champion and one of the top 10 chase contenders in trouble just 11 laps into the going here at Dover.
Huge implication for the championship for Casey Kane, one of the contenders in the chase.
It pretty much kills us for the championship, but we just got to win races from here out. That's all we can do.
Now Kyle Busch is off the pace and is coming down on the pit road to make a stop. We told you they feared an engine problem on the Chevrolet.
2 weeks in a row, Kyle Busch having a problem. He's one of the drivers in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Things not going well again here today. They hope to make up some points that they lost last weekend up in New Hampshire.
But 2 races in, a championship thought?
We're done.
Oh, we got trouble on the front stretch here. Kyle Petty goes around after contact.
The 11 just freaking ran all over you.
See a little bit of damage right now in the right front fender of the 11. Now he's really got that thing in the wall. Gonna have to work on it hard.
Here's another chaser with some problems.
A big upset in our points now. We've got problems with everybody.
It's like I got a loose wheel. It's like it's in the rear. I'm definitely getting ready to come off. Getting worse here.
No matter what happens, how this car feels, don't freak out, but stay focused. We can have a great day here still.
I'm 95% sure it's terminal, but we can look at it if you want.
Maybe we shouldn't have been talking about how great a day all the chase contenders are having.
Blowing up. Blowing up. Fine reminder of 06. Woo-hoo!
He's saying he's blowing up. That's a bad sign. Just been bad. Oh, got trouble with a tire blow right there.
Got a spin out of 4 here. You got plenty of room to back it down to 88 into the outside wall here with a blown tire. Watch it for debris here.
Stay low there. Stay low. Just a little quarter panel damage. You'll be fine.
You gonna tear it up? Go ahead.
Jimmy Johnson currently leading the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series here at Dover International Speedway. And Jimmy Johnson put the 11 car of Denny Hamlin a lap down. He had come in here with so much momentum coming off the win at Richmond, the second place finish at New Hampshire, and 7 consecutive top 10 finishes coming to a track that he said he really has a problem at.
This has been their nemesis over the last few years. They just can't get a good finish even when they have a good car.
Man, I'm afraid of Kyle
That doesn't
Petty
have a
now.
visor. It doesn't have a visor, dude. It's got to have a visor.
So, in other words, you can get pretty upset here at the Monster Mile.
Yeah, you can get upset
It's
here.
very emotional.
And especially if you're a chase contender, because you have so much to lose. How many times did we see right here with the 17 or these guys, when they interview them 2 races into the chase, and they say, chase is over, got no chance to recover?
Well, the 2 cliches about Dover that you hear every time you hear it, they always say it's a self-cleaning racetrack. That means everything falls from the top down. That's what makes it dangerous. The other cliche is that it's Bristol on steroids, and it is. It's a huge version of Bristol.
You know, and we see so many different things here that we don't see at other racetracks, as you see right here going into turn 1. We always see right front tires blown out or abused. Not Goodyear's fault, but they get real aggressive to make the car handle. We see a lot of blown motors, and we see people like Kyle Petty slam visors down. What's the deal with you in helmets? Hold on. That's the second time I've seen you do that. You did that to Bobby Hillin. You grabbed Bobby Hillin's helmet at Daytona. What's the deal with you in helmets?
I have anger issues.
Look at this. Look at you right here.
Look, I have anger issues right here.
Oh, you got it. Look at
you did his net. You did his window net.
Because he wouldn't take it down. So we needed to talk, and then I didn't like what he said, so I needed him to be quiet.
That is Kyle Petty. You're crazy.
I'm sorry.
I like you like that.
Denny Hamlin, I am sorry. I chose you last week, and I'm choosing you for the championship. Denny Hamlin, I am sorry.
I bet it's apology accepted.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. That was awesome. That was passion, man.
Well, our friends at Charlotte Motor Speedway had a big announcement this past Tuesday, and we mean big. They have partnered with the Panasonic company to construct the world's largest HD TV screen. This screen is going to be so big on the backstretch, it's going to be bigger than the White House. You can fit 43 transporters on the size of this screen, and the scary thing about it is I hope they do not put any broadcasters' faces up on that, because I don't think you guys would like to see us 200 feet long, and that screen will be ready for next year's All-Star race at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and you know what? It will be by far the biggest HD screen in the world. Well, we got one of the biggest races, at least of this weekend, coming up here for the Sprint Cup Series as the cars are on the grid. Business is starting to pick up. Back with more of NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot in a moment. Welcome back, everyone. This could be bad news for the rest of the field here at Dover. The number 48 team driver, Jimmy Johnson, has 5 wins at this racetrack, and that leads all active drivers. But his crew chief, Chad Knaus, in our Sunoco Pit Strategy of the Week, says that a tight pit road, pit selection, and restarts will make this race fun.
So, it's the second race of the chase, and we've already had all kinds of controversy. And I can bet, leaving this race this weekend, you're going to have a little bit more. Now, it all starts on Friday. You have to qualify well because pit road is extremely treacherous. It's very narrow, and the pit boxes are very small. So getting that premier pit pick is going to be very important and very vital to trying to win this race. Come race time, you go 80, maybe 85 laps in the Sunoco fuel run, but you have to realize as the rubber lays down as you're going through that fuel run, the drivers have to be cognizant of what's going on. They have to move their line around. You'll see guys running all the way up towards the wall. Restarts come the end of the race. You know you're going to have them, guys. Your car has to be fast on restarts to be able to cut through traffic and get to that clean air so you can really knock out some quick lap times. This place is a blast. It's a lot of fun, but it's a very difficult race to call, and it's a very difficult race for the drivers. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Chad, got to agree with you there. It's going to be a lot of fun, and perhaps a little bit more fun for that team number 48 because they did get the pole position and they had pit selection first. And Wendy, if there is such thing as a pre-race advantage, you have to say it goes to the 48.
Yeah, it definitely happened for the 48. They chose pit stall number 1 because of that pole position, of course, which is where I'm standing. Now, here at Dover, it's not so much the width or the length of the pit boxes, but here's the advantage for Jimmy Johnson being in pit stall number 1. Check out beyond the pit box line. We'll walk towards the wall. This is the part that's always in question, especially here at Dover. There's such a narrow roadway for these guys to get out of their pit pit boxes and get down pit road, that Jimmie Johnson has quite the advantage by pulling straight out, while the rest of the cars further down the pit road have a lot of congestion, traffic. There's not a grassy area. We have this tall wall here at Dover instead of that grassy section, so there is no room to give here on pit road. But before they even get to their pit boxes, getting down pit road at Dover can also be a question, Hermie.
It really can, Wendy. A lot of opportunities to make a mistake and ruin your day here at Dover. And one of the big things that right off the bat is getting off this racetrack, getting on the pit road. 24 degrees of banking up on the racetrack. Look at the steep transition. You got to get off the racetrack to get on the apron to get to pit road. And right here is the commitment line. You've got to have your tires on or below this orange box to enter pit road. But once you do that, look at all the drivers that are pitting on the turn 4 end of pit road. You heard Chad Knaus talk about the pit boxes being small. Well, just getting to your pit box and doing a good pit stop is not all it takes. Being on this end of pit road is a disadvantage because once you make your pit stop, get back on pit road, you've got to go down the pit road and have all the other drivers pull out in front of you that are completing their pit stops. You're on the accelerator, hitting the brake, trying to avoid that contact. You lose a lot of time on pit road just by being on this end of it. So I agree with you, Wendy. The 48 car got the best spot, and that could be a factor for him today. Johnny?
Hermie, thanks a lot. We always have to feel sorry for Matt Kenseth. Every time we come to this racetrack, it seems they replay the video of him hitting those tires, but it's a perfect example of just how tough it is to get in this pit lane.
The key is the spotters. Okay, Kyle, you know this. How many times have we ran the 400 or 500 milers back here in the day, and you're thinking, you know what, I'm getting ready to pit. I don't want this guy to hit me in the rear. And I say to my spotter, hey, spotter, tell the guy that's on my rear I'm getting ready to pit. Kyle, that was always safe to me. I would wave my hand out here, tell this guy on my butt I'm pitting this time. That way he goes high, doesn't hit me in the corner when I'm coming on the pit road.
Yeah, no, and that's a key, is the communication between you and your car and the guy behind you. The other thing is, if you notice where Hermie was standing, where that commitment line is, it's almost at the halfway point of the corner. It's not you come off turn 4 and come down pit road. It's not. It's in such a strange place, and you can't be aggressive on this pit road. You can't be aggressive getting in, and you can't be aggressive leaving your pits. We saw the 48 car, who should have won the race here in the spring, take himself out by being overly aggressive and speeding on pit road. Took himself out of the race. So you can't speed on this pit road either, because a pit road penalty here, a pit road penalty here kills you, man.
Well, we will see who will be the big winner today, but also, fans, you can be a big winner just by tuning in to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. Each night on Victory Lane, after the checkered flag is waved, you can check out Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, and catch all of the race highlights in raw emotion straight from Victory Lane. Also, go to speed.com, keyword Sunoco, to enter for your chance to win an autographed flag signed by the winner of today's race. Want to hear from more chasers? Well, we will when we come back. Some of the guys whose stock went up after race number 1 instead of down. Stay with us, everybody. Much more NASCAR Race Day coming your way from Dover.
Next week, the circuit heads to a track that's a true chase wildcard with 6 different winners in the last 7 races. Can 2-time winner Tony defend his Sunflower State title and climb out of his 11th place hole? Or will someone else rise to the occasion? Live from Kansas at 10 a.m., NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot on Speed.
Welcome back, everyone, to Dover, Delaware for race number 2 of the 2010 Chase for the Sprint Cup. It was said so many times last weekend at Loudon that you can't win the championship in one race, but you certainly could get off on the right foot.
With one race in the books of the 2010 Chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, it has already been one of the strangest in memory. And several contenders, despite a rough beginning, have to be feeling good about their chances.
Carl Edwards and Danny Hamlin touch. Hamlin goes spinning in turn number 4. The caution out once again.
The 99 can't hold his line, can he? Dude, see me coming and they just panic. It's like they don't know what to do. As I'm driving on these freaking restarts, try not to get hit. Everybody is not in the chase. Just takes advantage of everybody in the chase because they know we got to be careful.
In spite of all the problems and close calls the 11 team encountered, strategy and circumstances allowed Hamlin to make a charge at the finish.
These guys are not planning on pitting. They're just going to try and maintain their position here. I'm going to just try to pass
races back to the stripe. He will win the Sylvania 300. Denny Hamlin comes home a close second.
Damn it. A little short. Good job. Way to fight, guys. Yes, sir. Awesome comeback. Put a made over right there.
For championship favorites Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, race number 1 at New Hampshire definitely did not get off to a good start.
I'm gonna win a freaking championship like that. Need to get your together. 2 weeks in a row. That had our together. You got about 5 spots that we just worked all day to try to get by. Now we gotta do it again.
Kurt Busch tried to get to the inside of Jeff Burton. He's spinning. Behind him, brother Kyle spins.
We got to piss before tires. We're going to go all the way to the back. Yeah, fine. Would everybody stop saying this is an okay day? We suck, in case you haven't noticed. Okay, I'm watching this stopwatch, and we suck worse when you lose your friggin' head.
But with hard work and perseverance, both Harvick and Kyle Busch were able to salvage top 10 finishes and keep themselves in the thick of the championship fight.
Good job, got 9 out of it. We'll take that on a bad day.
Kevin, way to go. Way to never give up, guys. That's what's going to win the championship. We got to get better. You know how to do it.
With 9 races left to go, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch serve notice to their competitors that in the midst of troubles, perhaps a champion can be born.
1 down, 9 to go, and I guess by listening to that, we can figure out that one man's good day is another man's bad day. Right now, Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick are on top of the heap, but let's remember, this is pending appeal by the number 33 team in Richard Childress Racing, but as of right now, they are in the 12th position. Let us now hear from some other Chase contenders.
The fact that there are so many cars running well, guys that aren't in the chase, that that can fill up some of those top 10 spots. It might be more important just to be consistent than it has been in years past. When I saw Tony Stewart run out of fuel, that changed my perspective on the day. Here I was thinking, man, Tony's going to come out of this thing with the points lead, winning the race, and then he runs out of fuel, 60 seconds from winning the thing, and that made me realize this it's not over till it's over. Just count your blessings, and yeah, it's just kind of, whew, made it.
Yeah, if your bad days are top 5s, you're on track to win a championship. Top 10s, you're still not too bad of shape then. 25th, like we had in Loudon, not so good. Until you clear Talladega, it's real tough to know who's going to be where. Based on performance reasons. If people are close enough within 100 points, you can make that up.
And when it comes to racing here at Denver, you see Denny Hamlin with 9 races and 0 wins. And Denny will say this is not one of his better tracks. 19 races and no wins for Kevin Harvick. But here are a couple of key numbers to look at, guys. Jeff Gordon with 4 wins. He could snap his career longest winless streak here. And Jimmy Johnson certainly could get back into the fray. He's won here 5 times and starts where, Kenny? On a pole.
Poe. I'm going to tell you what, Jeff Gordon's been around a long time. The most races, 35 races, and Jeff Burton, 33. Look at some of these young kids. 9 starts for Denny Hamlin and Clint Boyer. Just young puppies.
Now, if you look at the history books, history should tell you that it should be Jimmy Johnson that picks it up here and gets back into the fray. But we don't race in the history books. Who do you think is going to be good here today?
I think Denny Hamlin's going to be good here today. I'm sorry. I mean, if we look in the history books, there's been races this year that Jimmy Johnson hadn't won on these tracks, and he's won. It's been a strange year, as evident by New Hampshire. Let's look at how strange this year can be. So I think guys that don't think they're going to run good here today are going to surprise themselves and have some good runs and have some good solid runs. And Jeff Gordon is a good example of somebody who can come out of here, had a great year or a decent year so far, but he salvaged something last week, and he in the 29 car can come out of here and gain some stuff.
I say to myself, what driver will step up today? I'm looking at Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, a 4-time champion, one of the greatest drivers of all time. But we've noticed this year when his car doesn't do what he wants it to do, he tries to carry it, he spins out, he gets in a wreck. I'm looking for that man right there, the 48 car, to step up. Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch is hard on right front tires, always. He'll blow a right front tire in a heartbeat. If Kurt Busch does not blow a tire today, I think he's the other driver that will step up.
Now, most of these Chase races have gone to Chase contenders. The last time a guy upset the party was Jamie McMurray last year at Talladega. We remember that when Tony Stewart was outside of the Chase, he took a lot of chances, won a lot of races. Could this be the day we see one of the other 31?
Oh, yeah. I think so. I think you got to look at how the one car runs, Jamie McMurray. I think you got to look at how Truex runs up here. I think you got to look at Ruderman. You got to look at some of these guys and A.J. Allmendinger. You look at how he's run the last 3 or 4 weeks. I think this could be a place that you can still a race, that somebody can jump in and still a race, because it becomes tire issues. It becomes fuel mileage. The cautions fall at the wrong time. You get up front. You've got track position. There's a lot of things that can play out at the end of this race that somebody could slip in.
A.J. Allmendinger, Kyle Petty, you said it. A.J. Allmendinger is the next superstar coming along. They're working on A.J. to keep his focus, keep his brain right, because he qualifies good, he runs good, and then they end up fading. So if A.J. can keep his head on right and become a winner, which he already is in IndyCar type, but if he can do that here, he'll be the next superstar. A.J. Allmendinger, he will be the flagship driver for Richard Petty Motorsports.
Well, race fans, if you want to stay in the know throughout the week, you better tune in to NASCAR Race Hub with Steve Burns. Starting out on Monday, they will have some of the best in the business with Denny Hamlin, Greg Biffle, Martin Truex, Ryan Newman, and also Jack Roush. But on Wednesday, they will have the latest from the appeals process involving the number 33 car at Richard Childress Racing. It is tomorrow night. Monday night starts it out at 7 Eastern, only on Speed. And when we come back, our so-called panel of experts will put their knowledge to the test, and we'll also put our money where our collective mouths are and tell you who we think is going to win this race today. Stay with us.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Cheerios. Check out Cheerios.com/love for heart-healthy tips and a chance to win the ultimate race weekend. And by the General Automobile Insurance Services. For the best car insurance rates in town, call 1-800-GENERAL now.
Welcome back to Dover, everyone, and NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot. One of the coolest things that's been added to a racetrack in a long time is this statue of Miles the Monster. Just how big is that statue? Well, in his right hand, that is an actual life-size Sprint Cup Series race car, and Miles greets the fans here. He looks mean, but he has a soft side to him. When it comes to racing time, though, he's one mean old guy, but he greets the fans here. An incredible statue to see because it is just so huge, as is the race here today. Number 2 of the 2010 chase for the Sprint Cup Championship. Even bigger, well, is the performance picks from Sunoco here on NASCAR Race Day. And yeah, take a look again on top. You know, you got your old buddy up on top there, Kenny Wallace.
Who?
I don't know, some guy, Miles the Monster, I think. Kyle Petty in second at 35. Hermie at 94.
Joel Robert.
Kenny and Wendy, for the first time in her NASCAR Race Day career, is in the cellar.
She's in the cellar.
Can't believe it, but that could change. That could change in a hurry. So therefore, we get to go first, and because we're going first, I don't care what these. Yes.
John Roberts.
Yes, Wendy.
I do have breaking news from the garage area.
Yes.
We have just received a press bulletin here in the garage area. It was just handed to me by the highest authority, our NASCAR Smarts judges. And they have said, you have been docked 150 points, my friend.
No, I'm under appeal.
For picking Clint Boyer and winning.
Hey,
and
the
I
rule
was told
stands.
the bulletin says, look at the new standings, Johnny. I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
Okay, first of all, let me tell you how wrong you guys are on this.
I want to hear your defense.
All right, here's my defense. First of all,
let me give you a quarter.
It's about
Let me give
wins
you a quarter
and
so you
call
can.
I thought you were going to say call someone who cares.
No.
Boyer's win stands. Therefore, my win has to stand from Loudon. It's under appeal. If Shane Wilson's at the racetrack and everybody else is there and Clint's still running where he's running, I still have that win, and I'm still on top.
Let me just say,
You
going to
will
NASCAR
get
on
your
Wednesday.
points back, Johnny. If the appeal stands and the points are rescinded for Clint Boyer, they will be for you too. That's what the judges of NASCAR Smarts say. I'm just the messenger.
And let me be real clear. I know how tough the judges are on NASCAR Smarts. I've lost all my appeals.
Kyle,
my pick is the 11 car, Denny Hamlin. He's my horse. I'm riding him to the championship this year, and he's going to turn it around here.
Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, it's my pick, and I'm moving on up. Listen, I'm going to pick A.J. Allmendinger because I was trying to think why, but Kenny Wallace told me he was going to be the next superstar, and I did get a couple of autographed Richard Petty, one of a lifetime items to go along with it also. But, hey, don't forget, fans. Wait a minute. Camera, look at me. I got something to say. Listen, for those of you that forgot, I'm picking the non-chasers all the way through this chase. So I'm trying to get them to put a bribe Hermie link on speed.com. I want all the other non-chasers to send me some merchandise, and I'll pick you next week. Who's next? I don't even care.
My friend Joel Robert is a cheater. He cheated 60,000ths of an inch.
We'll see what happens.
You're a cheater. You had your body too high.
You're taking this
the
personal,
winner,
aren't you?
The winner of today's race is Kyle Busch. 81 wins he has so far, race fans. Kyle Busch is the winner. Look at that pretty green car right there. He's going to dominate. And I hate to say this, I love this lady very much, good-looking lady, but she's in the cellar for the first time. Hey, Wendy, are you down there, honey?
Actually, I'm not in the cellar. This was going to be the first time I was ever in the cellar on NASCAR race day, but thankfully the NASCAR Smarts judges put Johnny in the cellar. So here's who I'm picking today. I'm going with Greg Biffle. He was fast in practice. He's good here at Dover, and I think he's going to get the job done, and I will not be in the cellar ever on NASCAR race day. Put it in the books. Mr. John Roberts, I'm so sorry for you, friend.
Wendy, get a quarter. Get a quarter out, okay? And hold it up. That is 1/64 of an inch, and that's what they said we were off, okay? Now I'm taking sides in this thing. I used to not have a dog in this fight. But I am picking the number 48 in number 1 pit stall. Those guys do their best work when they have it. Come on, be nice, guys.
Hey,
man, I'm just getting it from all sides here. Jimmy Johnson will not only win this race, he will dominate this race. And then when the appeals process is heard, I'll go back to the top. And by the way, I'm not buying it one bit. If Clint Boyer gets the win, I get the win.
You are the man, John
I did
Roberts.
not cheat.
Great
We're
job,
not cheating.
baby.
All I want is
love you, baby.
all I want is a fair appeal. That's all I'm asking. I want to thank everybody here at Dover, Delaware for being so hospitable for us, having us in here with our speed stage. We had a great time. Thanks to Miles the Monster for hanging out with us and all of you for coming along for the ride. We will have the big winner in race number 2 of the 2010 chase with us tonight in NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. See you there.